Hey friends, welcome back to another episode of Manifesting Mondays here on Organized Chaos, Season 2, Permission Granted. Today I am sharing with you an interview that I did with my new friend Monica. Just a way we met each other on a group coaching call, and then it turned into a conversation, and then it turned into a podcast, and now you guys are going to get the blessings of this podcast. So I hope you sit back and relax and enjoy it. Bye. Hi, friends. Welcome back to another episode of Organized Chaos, Season 2, Permission Granted. So here I have my friend Monica. We just became friends last week, and I was like, we should do a podcast together. I'd love for my listeners to know your story and what you're up to because I think it's fascinating. We're both in the field of working with people's energies and helping them clear. Monica, tell us a little bit about yourself.
How did it all begin, maybe?
How did it all begin? That is a great question.
Okay. It all began one summer day. No, just kidding. I don't know what season it was. Um, I think it began when I always like to tell the story that it began with my dad teaching my sister and I to meditate when I was about 8 years old. But because of what we were just talking about before hitting record, the woman, my partner who cleared me this morning, had said to me that there was a grandmother figure that had shown up in the clearing. And I had remembered that when I was very, very little, that my grandmother had shown up for me, like when I was sleeping. Like I remember, and I always associated that with her being like my fairy godmother, right? Like just my guardian angel. So I think it kind of started with that knowing of that there's someone out there who is a spirit who is looking out for me, you know? And maybe even before that, I went to a religious school, and so we learned a lot about God. And maybe now that you're posing this question and all this other information has come to me like in the past 24 hours, is that connection, right, to God and the prayers, right? Kathy talks about Modani, and we usually say that in the mornings. And the one prayer that I had learned to say at night was the Shema. Listen, listen is what it translates to.
Mm.
And so I say that every night, and I've been saying it for as long as I can remember. But I feel like I've come full circle back into the healing modalities. But I also remember that when I was in my 20s, maybe, I used to start crying for no reason. I was just so sad, but like I didn't know why, like where it was coming from. My mom would ask me, why are you so sad? Like, why are you crying? I'm like, I don't know. Like, I really didn't know. Like sometimes, people ask us questions and we're like, I don't know. I don't know.
Mhm.
Like we know, but I really
Yeah.
didn't know. I'm like, I don't know. And then I come to find out a few days later that somebody had passed away. So I was picking up on somebody's grief. And it
Mm.
happened once and I didn't think about it, but then it happened a second time, and then it happened a third time. And it
Oh,
was so much grief that I was carrying for somebody I did not know. And I didn't know what to do about it. And like having these messages come through me, I didn't know what to do.
mhm.
And so I just said, stop. That's all I said, stop. I can't do this anymore. Stop. And that's when I stopped receiving.
Interesting. When did you start picking it back up again and deciding like, oh, this is where I'm meant to be in this field?
It probably started maybe at least like 15 or 20 years ago
Mhm.
because I started having the tools. So while I was an engineer, there were things that I did to take care of myself to bring balance. So releasing the stress that I had during the week. On the weekends, I would take classes, different sort of interesting classes. And I started to gather tools to take care of myself. And once I felt like I had enough and I had the right teacher who was teaching me, I was like, okay, maybe I'm ready now because I have the tools. So bring it on. I can do this, right? Like
Yeah.
it's okay. I can receive and I'll share the message because
Yeah.
now I know how to take care of myself. I don't need to carry the grief. I can let it pass through.
It's so important because I think a lot of people don't know how to process grief and just allowing to know that grief doesn't last forever, but it needs to be felt and moved through the body as opposed to resisting it and like blocking it and stuff. But teaching people and using our energy to clear it for them, because they're like, I don't have the power to do this, but you do, or
Yeah.
you have tapped into those energies and learn the modalities and things like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So let's go back a little bit. What made you decide to become an engineer in that journey? And
Uh,
then like now it's like completely different of like what you're up to.
Completely. Is it really completely different? No.
Well,
A little bit. Okay.
you tell me how it's similar. How about that?
So engineering is we're working with materials, and as we're learning with Kathy, right, everything is energy, or relearning, right? Everything is energy, and everything is just made up of a molecular structure, right? Which is like cells, right? And also, I've learned the things that we see are made up of, it's like some kind of construct. Maybe, I don't know if I believe in this, but if we see it, it's there, right? We know it's there because we see it, we touch it. If we don't see it, is it not there? Like that whole, if the tree falls in the forest, if we don't hear it, did it really, right?
Mhm.
So I don't know. I still think about these things. I'm pretty discerning. I don't just study a modality and say, yep, I'm going to keep sharing it. No, I study modality, I practice it. I notice if there's any shifts, any differences, if it really works. And if it does, then I share. How did I become an engineer? Well, we were in Brazil. I was living in Brazil, and I, the friends I had in high school were so interesting. They were very different than my friends in the United States. In the US, my friends were either, I went to a private school, conservative school. My friends were either going to get their MRS degree, going to get married, or they were going to be accountants. Those are the people I surrounded myself with. So I thought, well, not really interested in the MRS, but let me go look into accounting. And so that's kind of what I thought would happen. This was my sophomore year. I had a friend who was in her junior year, so I was kind of like seeing what her path was. And then we moved to Brazil for my junior and final year. There, they only have 3 years of high school. So I went there, and those students, my peers, they wanted to be so many different things. They wanted to be a lawyer, a speech pathologist, a robotics engineer. I'm like, oh my gosh, like they could be anything. Maybe I can be anything. I don't have to be stuck, right? So maybe this was a gift in moving there. My cousins who all live there, they, most of them, engineers, some psychologist, a veterinarian, but most of them engineers. And so my dad said to me, he's like, you like math, you like science. Why don't you become an engineer and, maybe your cousins can help you? And I'm like, well, all right. But I still didn't know if I wanted business or engineering. So the process to getting into a college over there is very different than over here. Over there, each university has their own entrance exam. And so I needed, I took four exams, one for each college, one for engineering and three for business. And I thought, well, let me see how the universe responds to this. And wouldn't you know it, I got into the engineering school. I was like, huh, okay, I guess maybe this is my path. I'm supposed to be an engineer. So I started school, and about a month later, we moved back to the US. And I came back to, well, do I want to be an engineer? Do I want to go into business? Because now it's a different story, right? So I'm studying both, and that way it keeps me balanced. So I have some stressful classes and not so stressful classes, and it gives me opportunities. Eventually, I decide to just move forward with engineering, and, I do my co-ops, my internships. I get hired by Boeing, and I'm an engineer there for a while. And one of the QA supervisors says to me, because I was really bored at this one job, he says to me, a lot of the engineers are getting their MBAs, like Boeing is paying for it. And I said, huh, maybe this is where my business degree comes in, right? Like universe heard me, universe is coming back and saying, all right, let's fulfill this wish. So that's what I did. I went and got my MBA.
Yep.
So eventually I got to do both.
Uh-huh. That's amazing.
Yeah, so I did that. But while I was in engineering, while I was working, like I said, I was trying to bring in balance. So I would
Mhm.
take like these very interesting classes up at Bastyr, like animal communications, coaching, aura
So,
cleansing.
yeah.
Uh, I took from private teachers, one who became my mentor, face reading, astrology, like just different things, anything that would pique my interest. I'm like, great, it's not engineering, it's not stressful. I'm going to do that. Let me just study this. I didn't know where it was going to take me, but I feel like because of the home that I grew up in, I was always hiding in a book, the
Explain.
library or
Hmm.
like studying. Studying
Got it.
because I don't think I was the brightest, and some of it was hard for me, but also because my parents fought a lot. So, like,
Uh,
where do I go? I go in my room and I get
you're
into a book.
hmm just the way you escape.
Just the way I escaped. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it brings safety. It's
Yeah.
like, how can I create safety when things outside of me are a little more intense, let's say?
Right. And I can't control that, but what can I
Mhm.
control?
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's really good. And then, so eventually you start doing these courses and extra activities and stuff. And then remind me, are you still an engineer now? Or let's talk
Left.
about that
Yeah.
transition.
I left engineering in 2013. I, the last job I had, I hated. Like it was not for me. When I applied for this job, I was at a position that I loved. I got to certify airplanes. I got to
Wow.
like right at the end and go on the airplane, do some tests. It wasn't like a complete sit down type of job. It was
Hmm.
so cool. And everything was just shortened, like 3 months, turnaround time for the whole thing. And then we had to race against the clock and, get the airplane delivered. Like that to me was so much fun. And
Yeah.
then I had this opportunity, which had come around before, but I didn't get it. I didn't get an interview before, but it was to be a customer engineer. And that was my dream. My dream was to be a customer engineer to help airlines configure their airplanes. That is what I wanted to do. I wanted to, because I'm a connector and I like to talk to
Mhm.
people and
Yes.
create with people and collaborate.
Mhm.
So
Love
being a
that.
solopreneur is really hard
Uh-huh.
for me. Um, so yeah, so I applied for this job and I was so excited. And the rooms, the offices in at Boeing, like each of the rooms has a city name. So the city of this room was São Paulo. And I'm like, oh my God, this must be a sign because that's where I lived. So I'm like so excited. And I have this interview, and I think there's three managers there. And I have the interview. And then we're done, and I walk out and I say, okay, well, when will I hear? And they're like, blah, blah, blah. We have to talk about it. I'm like, okay, fine, whatever. I love my job anyway. So I was just testing. And the reason I applied for this job, not only because I wanted to be a customer engineer, but because a friend of mine contacted me in a different group. He was in the seats group.
Hmm.
And he said to me, hey, I'm applying for this job. So and so is applying for this job. So and so is applying for this job. And it sounds just like you. And I'm like, I know it sounds just like me, but I don't want it. I like my job. And he's like, come on, it'll be fun. We'll all apply. And I'm
Hmm.
competitive. So I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, fine.
Yeah.
I'll apply.
Oh
So I
my God.
did. And then the very next morning, as soon as I got to my desk, it was like 7:30 in the morning. I got in the phone's ringing. And, hello, Monica. Hey, we'd like to offer you the job in customer engineering.
Hmm.
Tell your manager, because we're gonna call them tomorrow. And I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, oh, okay, great, thank you. And I'm like, I was
Yeah.
so excited. So they they asked me which are your top three airlines that you want to work with. And so I put
Hmm.
down Brazil. There was a Brazilian airline, which I think is now defunct. It was Varig. Somebody else and somebody else. I can't remember. Anyway, this was in 2012. So I put down the three airlines and I tell my manager, I tell my lead. My lead is like, he goes, I don't know what to say. He goes, I don't want to let you go, but they would be so lucky to have you. Like this was like whatever he said exactly,
Aw.
like the
Yeah.
nicest thing ever. Like I know I was held in high esteem over there. I know I was because he told me and people he's like, I have one day he pulled me aside. He goes, I have good news and bad news. And I'm like, oh, what did I do? And he's like, everybody wants to work with you. And I'm like, ah, interesting.
Aw. Yeah.
Right? So anyway, I ended up, this is where it gets kind of interesting. So I get a call from the new manager. So they decided where to put me. I get a call from the new manager and he said, okay, come meet us, come see where you're going to be sitting. And I said, okay. I said, I'll be there in 10 minutes. And he goes, 10 minutes? He goes, no, no, it's going to take you a while to get here. And I'm like, huh. So I had gone to customer engineering, commercial division, And I had walked around, I talked to some people. I wanted to feel into it. Like, how
Yeah.
does this space feel? Like, is this going to be the right position for me? Turns out it was not in that building. It was in a different building. So I had to drive to the building. Not a big deal, but like it takes 10, 15 minutes just to walk to my car. So I get
Mm.
into my car, I drive to the building, and I'm getting into the elevator, and my whole body is like, nope, 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 nope. This is all wrong. This is
Oh,
all
no.
wrong. The whole entire time. Pressing number 7, going up the
Mhm.
elevator, all wrong, all wrong. Seeing the manager, meeting my new teammates where I was going to sit, and my whole body's like, nope, nope, nope. This is all wrong. I go back and I ask my manager, I'm like, can I just stay here because that felt really wrong, like all over my body. It did not feel good.
Yeah.
And he said, we closed our requisition. He's like, you already accepted. And I'm like, you know, so I'm like, okay. He's like, don't worry. He goes, you're going to do great. And I'm like, oh my God, like my whole body's now. And what do I do? Like leave? Like it's so
Yeah.
hard to leave a job that, you've been in a company, even if you've been in different jobs, like you've been in a
Yeah.
company for so many years, you have community, stability, purpose, right? So I'm like, well, let me see, benefit of the doubt. Maybe my intuition is wrong. No.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I
Yeah.
start the job
Uh-huh.
and it is boring. It is boring.
Oh no.
And I ended up working for, it was the defense division, which normally on paper, like, oh my God, so cool, like getting to work
Yeah.
on the new version of the AWACS, and it's like
Mhm.
a P38 or something. Anyway, I was, but it was not exciting. They didn't assign me a mentor. I didn't know what I was doing. I asked for work. Please help me. Please give me some work. They didn't do it. I was like, what the heck am I doing here? Like, did they just want budget? I don't understand. So the tech assistant person who was sitting next to me, she was really kind. She was friendly. She was helping me as much as she could, but like they weren't giving me work. So like it was really so bad. And so I decided to quit. And I told my previous manager, I said, okay, I'm quitting because they're not giving me work. And when I talked to the manager, there was an opportunity to be a diversity focal for the group.
Mm.
And when I approached him about doing it, he's like, no. And I'm like, nope. And I'm like, I'm going to do it. But tell me why you're saying no. And he said, there's no time. I'm like, you're not giving me any work. If I have no work, what else am I going to do? I'm going to go be a diversity focal.
Yeah.
So I ended up being the diversity focal, like very little work. Like it was a very strange circumstance. Anyway, I decided to quit. I tell my old manager, I'm going to quit. He goes, nope, take a leave of absence. And I'm like, I don't want to. I really don't like this job. It's not for me. They're not giving me any work. He's like, take a leave of absence. So I took a 3-month leave of absence, did not want to go back, was dreading going back, even just to quit and get my stuff. Like I was dreading it. So I extended it one more month. I don't know why I waited. Anyway, by the end of the 4th month, my previous manager says, okay, we have a requisition. We're going to open it up, apply for it so we can bring you back. And I said, great. Apply for the job. I go for the interview. We're all ha-haing it, right? Because like it's my old job. And then there's a hiring freeze. My manager gets promoted to a different line and like everything is frozen. And I'm
Oh
like,
my
ugh,
gosh.
I
Uh-huh.
quit. Okay, universe, I'm getting it. See you
Yeah.
later. Can't do this
Mhm.
anymore. So I left in 2013, at the end of 2013. And I had already known this. I already planted the seed for my husband. I said, I can't stay in Seattle anymore. I need a change. I need warmer weather. I need a change. I knew that if I stayed in Seattle, that I would keep wanting to go back to Boeing. This is all I knew. This is all I wanted to know. And I just knew that I would just fall back into that trap. And so a year later, he quit his job. He didn't like his job. So he quit and he said, okay, he goes, I'm going to apply for jobs. This is going to be quick because he's in tech. It's like, this is going to be quick.
Mhm.
And are you ready? And I said, I'm ready. And it was quick. And we left. He got a job in the Bay Area. And, I've been here since 2015. We arrived March 2nd, 2015. And since then, I've been settling in, I've been healing
Yeah.
and also learning,
Hmm.
seeing what the opportunities are around here. and playing with energy and my intuition.
Yes. It's just amazing when we finally listen to our body and it's saying, no, 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 no. And we're listening to the universe. It's like redirection, redirection. Okay, I'm going to trust. I'm going to see what happens. And even your husband saying, hey, I'm done with this job. I want to do something new. Like him listening to his body and not just, this is my job and this is my only option. Like so many people, we just feel like we don't have an option. And we're just hitting the door, like, oh, but I'm this age. I can't rebuild. I can't restart. But
Yep.
like, that's such a limiting
Belief.
mindset and
Yeah.
belief. And it's like,
Yeah.
how do we break through and when is enough enough? And that's why I love your story. It's so like encouraging, inspiring. At any age, you can start over and you can rebuild and recreate. Like to be in Seattle and now you're down in the Bay Area, California, even just moving is a huge task in
Oh,
itself. And now
yes, it was.
you're doing all this energy work. And so, how did you get started with just like the energy clearing? Was it just a friend was like, "Hey, I need help with this," and like share all that? Because I mean, that's the beauty of this conversation is like, okay, now we're here, and now what?
Yes, now we're here. We started our lives here in the Bay Area, and I just want to just say something, and that is, women in their 50s are always, they're looking for something different. They're realizing how empowered they are, what they're dissatisfied with. This is in Chinese astrology, right? They're like, I've had enough. What can I do better? So there's a lot of women in their 50s who are like, I'm starting over, whatever it is. Some leave their husbands, leave their partners. Others are like, I'm going into nonprofit, I'm starting my own business, whatever it is, there is a change. And I think, we carry our ancestors' genes, obviously. And for them, that those genetics are homemakers, they're passing away at young age, right? We're living longer than we have ever before. So like, what do we do at this time? Right? I'm 55. Like 55 was the death sentence, right? So,
Yeah.
but now it's not. Now it's like, okay, this is my second career, my third career. So when I moved here, my sister called me up. She lives in Chicago. And she's like, I need to get out of my life. Where can we go? And I said, okay. We did a little bit of research and we ended up in San Diego and we took this meditation retreat. We loved it. We got certified, and that led to Ayurveda for me. And then that also then led to yoga for me. So certified in Ayurveda, certified in yoga. But it's not just I'm going to study and I'm going to get certified. Meditation is full circle, right? My dad taught my sister and I when we were very young to meditate. And even though I've tried throughout the years different meditations, Louise Hay, I can't remember any of the other ones, but different types of meditations, coming back and really learning the ins and outs of meditation, not just meditating with someone, but being able to understand the nuances and how to guide people is really what I came back to. And by getting certified in meditation, I needed to take a class in Ayurveda. And so I learned a little bit about Ayurveda, but it wasn't until I got sick and the Western doctors couldn't help me that Ayurveda helped me. So I went to see Ayurvedic doctors. I did a 6-day retreat that looked at all of me holistically. So it's not just me studying, this is me experiencing something that led me to study so that I could help myself and I can help other people. And then there was yoga, right? I had been here for 3 years. I wasn't working. What could I do for my body, right? I've already done the mind. I'm doing the body. What else can I do? Yoga. The yoga studio that I was going to had a yoga teacher training. And I said, great, I'll get to meet some people, do something good for my body, learn something. And so then I had yoga. And then came the pandemic. And so I studied some more Ayurveda, some more yoga, some life coaching. But back in 2008, I think it was, I met one of my mentors, one of my teachers, Jean Hainer, and she was teaching face reading, Chinese face reading. And I learned this in Bellevue. So I took 2 days off of work because it was Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday at a hotel Bellevue, or Bellevue Coast Hotel in Bellevue. I don't know if it's still there, but anyway, 4 days. And so that's when I started learning with her. And I just kept following her wherever she was. Seattle, then she had some stuff in San Diego, some classes in San Diego, then up here in Petaluma. And I've just been studying with her. So face reading, 9 star key, which is Chinese astrology. We have this, our lives go in this 9 year cycle. So what can we expect, this year, right? So based on our birthday. Um, and then I studied energy clearing with her, personal energy clearing, which I loved. And I like noticed differences right away, like so interesting. And then I learned space clearing, and that was advanced. And then I would keep going to her advanced trainings. And so that's how all of that started. But I feel like all that stuff that I had studied with her, with the meditation and Ayurveda, like it's all about clearing your energy, right? Yoga, you're clearing your energy through movement by coming into different kind of poses and seeing things in a different way, right? Coming back to your body, returning home to your body. Ayurveda with the food, right? With your self-care. With
Yeah.
the energy clearing, that's the invisible, right? Like we're clearing the invisible clutter that we don't see. We keep thinking, oh, we need to see a therapist or a coach or, do journal, whatever. All great stuff. And there's a time for everything. But sometimes when that's not enough and you've done all the things, it's the invisible stuff that needs clearing, right? Our
Mhm.
energetic blocks. So I feel like it all came together for me during the pandemic.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so that's how it all
And
kind of came
and then
together.
when did you do your first like house energy clearing, space clearing?
Oh, yeah, that was probably about 14 years ago. I think it was like
Okay.
2012, 2011, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then that's what you're focusing on right now, your podcast and your space clearing?
My podcast is really about possibilities.
Oh,
It's
okay.
prana and possibilities. So like what are the possibilities? And that's really what I like to focus on is what can happen? What can transpire, right?
Mhm.
Once we take that step, right? We're not, why limit ourselves, right? We talked about that in the beginning, right? Limiting beliefs. And
Mhm.
why? That doesn't serve anybody, right?
Yeah.
So what are the possibilities? What can happen? I saw my whole life has been one big possibility, right? I
Yes.
could have just, you know, I don't know, just stayed in poverty and followed my parents' footsteps and not tried to get
Mhm.
myself out of it. I'm the oldest daughter, and my
Mhm.
sister actually told me probably about, I don't know, a long time ago. Anyway, something I had not known before. She said, "You paved the way for me. Like you
Aw,
really helped me
yeah.
because I didn't know how to do this." And I'm like, "I didn't know how to do this. Nobody was helping me." I just
Uh-huh.
I just figured it out. I just
Yeah.
figured it out because I knew when I was a child, I knew that I did not want this life that my parents were giving us. I knew I
Mhm.
had wanted more. And I started like in my prayers every night, started asking for things when I was just like a toddler, right? Like I knew this, but it was because I saw differences. I saw where I lived, I saw where my friends lived. I saw what the clothes I was wearing where we were shopping, maybe not a toddler, maybe a little bit older, but like I noticed the clothes that I was wearing and the brands that they were wearing. Like I noticed the difference. I saw the difference. And I'm like, why can't I have this? Like, what's going on here? And so I started to manifest it. I started creating affirmations before I even knew what an affirmation was and just fell asleep to all these things. And
Mhm.
everywhere that I am right now is because I started this process when I was a kid.
I love that. What's one manifestation that you remember from like your childhood before manifesting like mantras were even like a thing?
One of the things that I asked for was to have enough money, enough money to, and of course, I'm trying to remember exactly what I said, but
Mhm.
enough money to feel comfortable, to feel uh, like I had enough and enough to share. So I already knew back then that I wanted to donate, but I just used like share. And I know I use this like share. My parents weren't really donating money, they were donating time, and I saw this. And I mean, they donated money like here and there, like our neighbors.
Mhm.
They were not doing well, and I want to get into it in the
Yeah, yeah.
podcast, but I was reminded because the woman had messaged me many years ago when we first, Facebook's just started and you're finding friends. Yeah. She messaged me and she said, I remember the day that your parents came home with a trunk load of food for us. And I'm like, and like we didn't have it. Like we lived across the street in a tiny apartment just like they did. And my parents didn't have any money. Like I know they didn't have any money. They were fighting over money. Couldn't I heard my dad say to the landlord, I don't think you're allowed to call it landlord anymore, but at the time, right?
Hmm.
A
Yeah.
property manager.
Yeah.
I don't have
Mhm.
the money this month. I remember hearing that. And I think our rent was like 250. I remember hearing that 250, or I would see checks 250
Yeah.
for rent. And um I know they didn't have the money. I know we were on scholarship for school. I know they went to food banks because my mom told me. My dad's too proud, but my mom's like, we had to go to the food bank.
Yeah.
So, like, I know this, but yet they still helped
That's
other
amazing.
people.
That.
So that was kind
Mhm.
of like the energy where that was going was I wanted to not worry about money, have enough money so I didn't have to worry, and that
Mhm.
I had enough to share. And that is exactly where I am.
Ah, I love that. That's so great. Look what you manifested. This is so
Look
cool.
what I manifested. And what's interesting when I look back at all of that, I know it couldn't have happened like while I was growing up, unless it came through my parents, and I don't know that it did, but I think it came through them when they decided to move to Brazil, and that changed my world. And so from there, that's when I started manifesting on my own.
Yeah, that makes total sense. Hey, you. Yes, you. Thank you so much for listening to this episode. This episode is brought to you by My Energy Readings. Energy readings are one on one private Zoom sessions where I tap into your energy field and deliver exactly what your soul needs to hear. Scroll down to the bottom of my show notes to book your energy reading today or just send me a DM. Can't wait to see you on Zoom. And until next time, know that you're amazing, know that I love you, and the world is going to keep on spinning. So you need to keep on showing up and doing the things that light you up because that's what we need more of. People who are lit up and shine their light wherever they go. So keep manifesting, keep believing, and I'll catch you on the flip side. Bye. I want to talk more about your space clearings, like either like client testimonials, how you actually do it, and whatever else you want to share, because I think that's such a huge piece that I want to make sure
Yeah.
we touch on.
Yeah. When I did my first couple, it was okay. It's very taxing on the nervous system, but now I have tools for my nervous system. Um, and I did like a business, I did a dental business, and I'm like, I really don't like doing this. Like it was taking too long. My nervous system wasn't ready for it. Um, I wasn't enjoying it. And then fast forward 3 years ago, and I was having a one-on-one with this lady, and we were just getting to know each other. She's in my networking group, and we started talking, and I said, I like do some space clearings, but not really. Like I did that a little bit. She was asking about my background too and who I learned from. And so I mentioned it and then, let it go. And then I had another one-on-one with her like 6 months later, 8 months later. And she's like, I'd really like for you to do a space clearing in my office. I haven't had any business in so many months. Like nobody's coming in. And I said, well, because I wasn't sure, and that wasn't my intention. My intention was a different path, right? Putting on a different hat. I said to her, well, let me go to your office and let me see. Let me feel into it. So I get to her office, I walk around and I'm like, okay, I'll do this for you. She's like, I could ask my sister to do it because she's an energy healer, but I want to ask you to do it. And I said, okay. So I took a video of the space. I quickly drew a rough draft of a blueprint, brought it home. This was on a Friday. I started on a Tuesday, the following Tuesday, to really get into the space. And I think I was complete by Thursday. On Friday, I went back to her office to give her a summary of what I found. And she said, oh my God, I have 5 new clients. And I thought to myself, what changed? Oh, that's right. I hired you. And I'm like, just,
Amazing.
laughing, right?
Yeah.
And she's like,
Uh-huh.
oh my God. And, it was a nice conversation. I left. I went to the supermarket. I get this call at the supermarket from her. And she's like, I want to ask. And I thought, oh my God, did I forget something? Or like, I don't know, like something went wrong. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, so she's like, my boss wants to talk to you. And I'm like, huh.
Mm-hmm.
So she puts him on the phone and I'm having this conversation with him and he has very faith, like he's very, very Christian. And so he's like not believing this. And also he wants to know like, how woo is this girl? right? Like, oh my God. So, like, so weird. This isn't in alignment with my faith. So, I have a really nice conversation with him because I believe in God, right?
Yes.
Also, I was an engineer. Also, I've done this work and I've seen the magic that happens.
Yes.
So, it was a really nice conversation. He ended up hiring me
No, I love it.
to clear his office.
Good.
Yeah. So it just kind of spiraled from there, and I'm like, you know what? Maybe this is my path. And maybe it's not if I'm not leaning in, just say no. And two, if it's too big. So I've decided like smaller is better. But that
Hmm.
said, I did a 4,000 square foot house and it was fine. So like I can do it. So like I'm building up myself to be able to do bigger homes. It just takes longer to do. Um, but yeah, so that's kind of how I got started again to
Uh-huh.
on this path. And what's an interesting thing that came up last night with my accountability partner was the realization that maybe like I love doing it and I have so much fun doing space clearings because I get to like meet spirits and see like different things that happen and pick up on different energies. But what's interesting for me that was an aha based on the conversation I had with my accountability partner was that this wasn't what I thought of for myself. When you have a vision, you start your business and you're kind of evolving and pivoting a little bit and you're learning things and you're figuring out what you're in alignment with. Well, this was more like I'm still in awe and I can't believe that really this is my path because I never would have guessed in a million years, based on my previous knowledge, that this is where I would want to be going. And so I think I've been blocking myself, right, from really talking about it. Like I talk about it a little bit, but not a lot. And I have fears of going and just talking to a realtor, even though like I've worked with realtors,
Yeah.
right? And they've seen the magic. But if somebody comes to me because they heard of me and they're into the spiritual, because really that's what it needs to be, right? It can't just be any realtor. So I don't go up to them,
Yeah.
right, and offer it because it still feels a little bit weird, I guess. Yeah.
And I think sometimes, like with me, it's like I don't tell everybody that I do like my energy readings. I've been trying to be more like vocal on social media and stuff like that. But I always just have to trust like the universe is going to bring me the right
Yes.
conversations and clients,
Yes.
and like this
Yeah.
person will know that person, stuff like that. And
Yes.
as I'm getting more comfortable sharing, like on on bigger platforms or wherever, and it's just that trust, like so I also like actually physically like declutter homes and organize and stuff like that. And I know we've talked about that, but even with that, I don't share a ton of it with people. But this one client that I just worked at her house last week, I've been to her house like 4 or 5 times, but I met her so randomly at my kids' like tennis match, and there was a seat next to her, and then I was like, "Can I sit next to you?" And she's like, "Oh yeah, sure." And then it turned into this amazing business opportunity and friendship. So in my mind, so random how I meet the people, but really
Yep.
it's just divine timing and
Yes.
trust and stuff. And it's so cool and so beautiful because we make such a big impact. And like I need to realize like what I have to offer is so valuable, and I do need to just share it more and like get out of that box or whatever, because really it's like we're only here on planet Earth for X amount of things. And like I never
Exactly.
thought I would be a personal trainer and then a decluttering expert and now energy reading, but I had created my business license. It's just this generic like name, and then like
Right.
now I have all these umbrellas of how I like bring in money and
Yep.
stuff.
Yep.
Just like, oh, what breadcrumbs are we following today? Let's
What
see.
breadcrumbs are we following today? Exactly. Yeah. So, yeah. Anyway, but you had asked, I think, just circling back, like,
Mm-hmm.
what are the aspects of the space clearing? Because a lot of people, and I think we talked about this last week, is some people will sage their
Mm-hmm.
place, right, for better energy, and
Yeah.
that can be effective sometimes. Um, and it just depends on the person, and how they feel that the energy has shifted. And you could always, bring music
Uh-huh.
right, into the home and walk around like with a bowl or, some kind of, 432 hertz love, on
Yes.
your computer or on your phone and
Mm-hmm.
walk around the house. You can paint your walls, right? You can get new furniture. You're shifting the energy.
Mm-hmm.
But the way I clear energy, I actually learned this from my teacher, Jean Hayner. And we go deeper. We go deeper. We clear earth energies, right, that are seeping from the house into the earth coming back. We're clearing EMF, microwave. We're clearing accumulated emotional stresses. So not just the stresses that you leave behind in your home, but all the previous people who have lived in this space, right? We're clearing the water, underground water, naturally occurring underground water. That comes from, you know what? You're at your sink, you're crying because you've had a devastating day. It all goes down and it comes under your house when it goes through the pipes, right? Like that can seep up. So it's not just your energy, it's all the energy, right? There's some houses that don't sell, businesses that don't do well. Um, there's so many things. I had a client who wanted to open up a space, and what I cleared was a commercial space, and it was red tagged, which means they can't do anything. They're not allowed to do anything. And so she really needed some help because there was a lot of things going on there. So I cleared this space, and what came up for me was a suicide while I was clearing a suicide. And she says to me, a suicide, I thought it was a murder. And I said, well, let me finish going through this and let's see what happens. Because I'd already cleared it, but it'd been a week since I'd cleared it and I had the conversation with her. So I didn't review it because I was reviewing it with her in that moment. So had the suicide, and I'm moving along, and then I say, oh, over here. I actually put down. And so she sees the words that I'd written down before. And like I felt something at my third eye and it felt like a bullet. I said, this could have been the murder. I actually put down murder on the piece of paper. So I said, maybe this was your murder, right, that you heard about. But there was also a suicide. I also said, one of the energies that I felt was this big animal coming into the space. And I said, it wasn't a cow, but it's as big as a cow. But I wasn't like resonating with exactly what animal it was, but they were bringing it in. And she said, oh, that's really interesting because, 100 years ago, they were actually bringing in slabs of meat to put in there, and I'm like, oh, isn't that interesting? So the energies, sometimes it's validating for my clients and sometimes it's just new information, right? Like I felt like, oh, there's a person here with a baby in the stroller. And how would she know that, right? Like she doesn't know. And it's just something that came up, a picture that came up. And what happens with an energy clearing versus Reiki is that with Reiki, the Reiki practitioner is a conduit for energy healing. So it's the universe, it is for the client's highest good, it is the highest self of the client, it is the Reiki masters before me, and all the people who want to see my client heal. That is who shows up for Reiki. But energy clearing, which is why it can be taxing on the nervous system, is I am personally aligning with you and your energy. I am personally aligning with the space. The caveat to that is that if you are an energy clearer. What I get from person A could be different than what you get because it's your energy connecting with theirs versus my energy
Yeah.
connecting to theirs. So we could get different results, different stories, right?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
such magic when I do my energy readings. And literally, that's what I'm trying to explain to people. It's my energy connecting with your energy. And also for me, like connecting with God and source to receive a message that your soul needs to hear. And it's like, can be the most random thing. I think the most randomest thing. And they're like, no, that's my childhood. Or yes,
Yep.
absolutely. It's
Yep.
wild. And then clearing that energy so they can walk away feeling peaceful and balanced and like shaking off the residue. I almost feel like it's like you go into a building and the Wi-Fi's off. So you're that person that fixed the Wi-Fi and get the clear channel. And then the
Yeah.
other picture I had gotten before we jumped on this call is like, when you have like a bathroom sink and it like won't drain properly, but then
Mm-hmm.
you call in the plumber or your husband or you
Yep.
do it
Yep.
yourself and you clear. I forget what it's called. It's like the S pipe or something.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah.
you take it off and it gets clear and you put it back in. And so everything can start flowing again. Like that's what
Yes.
we're doing with
Yeah.
our space clearings and our energy readings. We're clearing up the gunk so the water
Yes.
can flow.
Yes.
not
Yep.
that build up.
We're clearing the energetic blocks. And, one of the things that my husband called it, which I think is really interesting, is when people sell their houses, they usually stage it, right? But this is like an energetic staging, right?
Yes.
I had a client who the house had been on the market for over 100 days. And I said, let me help you, engineer, but also let me do this energetically, right? So I clear the house and I tell him, okay, this house, you're going to get an offer, or it's going to close around this date, more, give or take, 2 days or something like that. And so, wouldn't you know it, it was like right on that date that I gave him. And I don't usually do that, but I just felt called to check in. I was curious, like, what if, right? And so I gave it to him. It closed. So interesting. A year later, I meet this woman in a networking group, and she says, "Oh, I've seen you in the neighborhood. You have a stroller and you have a dog in it." And I said, "Yes, I do." I said, "Do you live in my neighborhood?" She goes, "I do." She goes, "But I used to live down this one street, and at the corner of this street and that street." And I'm like, "Oh, is it this house?" And I gave her the address. She goes, "That's the house I grew up in." And I said, "Oh, I just cleared that house, or I cleared that house last year so it would sell." She's like, "Oh my God, thank you so much." And I said, "Here's some of the things I found." She goes, "You are spot on." She had no idea because it was the realtor who hired me, right? So they don't know, the family doesn't know. And she was so excited that she hired me to clear her home. She's like, "Oh my God, like it works like so
That's
well." She's like,
exciting.
"I believe."
Right? I
Yeah,
like
yeah.
have chills again, like this whole conversations you've been
Yeah,
saying.
it's so interesting.
Wild.
It's
Yeah.
so fascinating to be in this energy and just to see the magic and to be able to help people in this one small way.
Yeah, it's like so huge. Yeah, it's both. Um, what's your favorite like house clearing, space clearing story?
Oh,
Or and what do you like love about this work?
what I love about this work is that I I don't have to do it all in one shot. I can do it a little bit every day, right? So that I can take care of myself. I can do it in one day, but I choose not to. I'm like, because I want to come in fresh. So I'm still connected, so I have to do them in consecutive days. I love it because of all the interesting stories that I connect with and I can share with the owners. And they're like, oh my God, that's right. Like it validates, right? Because it's invisible, right? So how do you prove it? Um, so that's what I think I love about it. It's just fun. It's fun for me. So when I clear a house, I also clear the people in it, the personal clearings. And I love that, but I also love clearing situations. Like if somebody comes to me and, like somebody came to me, they were getting a divorce and the husband wanted sole custody of the kids and she was so desperate. She's like, "Can you help me?" So I cleared the energy around the divorce. And a week later, she messages me and she goes, "I don't know what you did, but I have custody of the kids." And I'm like, "Well, great. Yay. Isn't that wonderful?" So I don't
Amazing.
know. I think the
Yeah.
situations for me is interesting too, just to see where it goes and what the possibilities can be.
Hmm.
Um, my favorite story are probably the ones I just told you, just because they're so interesting. They're so cool. Um, I don't know if I have another favorite story. Was there one that I told you that you remember that kind of spoke to you?
Well, I just love the ones where you like have cleared houses and then they sell. Like I think that's so
Yeah,
huge. Like
huge.
so many realtors should hire you to do that because it's a big block for realtors. It's like, how do I
It
get
can
past
be.
this?
Yeah. How do
Um,
you get past this? Yeah.
and
I had
then do you like let's say there's a realtor, let's say in Florida or somewhere far away, do you do it via Zoom if they can just send you
yeah, so I
a
do it. Yeah, I do it remote.
video?
I
That's
do it
amazing.
remotely. Yeah. I've done, trying to think, I've done, but the dental office was remote. Trying to think if there was another one. I mean, I did the women's office remotely, even though like we're in the same town, I still did that remotely. Um, I'm going to be doing one in North Carolina. Um, let's see, there's one. So what's interesting is when I cleared the house that was for sale for over 100 days, I actually did that from Brazil. So I kind of did it remotely.
Oh, wow. That's wild. And it worked. Like that's the neat part about energy. Energy just can go. Like
Yeah.
right now you
Yeah.
could
There's
probably
no
like
barriers. There are no
hear
barriers, just the
me
ones
and
that
be
you
like, yeah,
create.
exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep. So
I have this other client who she has an ADU and she wasn't sure, do I rent out my house? Do I rent out my ADU? Which way do I go? It's been a minute. I really need to rent out one of them. So I cleared both of them. And while I was clearing them, because it takes me several days, while I was clearing, she actually was able to rent out the ADU.
oh
So it
wow.
took her forever to find a renter, but then while I was clearing, she was able to rent out her ADU. So I thought that was kind of cool too.
That's really
Yeah.
cool. It's like
Yeah.
the magic. I feel like a lot of times the magic starts working like even before, like you pay for the
Excellent.
course and then
Yes.
it starts working.
That's exactly what my teacher says. Soon as they commit, that is when the energy starts moving.
Mhm.
Yep, exactly. Yeah. And, people come to me for different reasons. Like I can't sleep, right? And so then
Oh,
I clear their house. Yeah,
okay.
exactly. Yeah. So it's just interesting. So it's not always the house on the market too long or, things like that. Like there are different reasons. There are different reasons. One woman had too much clutter in her house.
Uh-huh.
So I cleared that space and she was going to sell. So I cleared that space.
Hmm.
The decluttering went a lot easier for her
Right?
because
Uh,
of that. Yes. And anyway, so
um, do you find that you can also clear yourself?
oh, I clear myself every single night.
How do you do that? If that's a quick answer, I don't know.
Oh, it's the process that I learned from my teacher.
Hmm.
It's in like an 8-step process. I've actually taught this class before.
Oh, neat. Okay.
And now I want to actually do it as a workshop in my house. But yeah,
Yeah.
I end up clearing the 5 elements, water, wood, fire, earth, metal, because they all mean something,
Hmm.
right? It's not just about the element, it's what the element represents.
Represents. Yeah.
Yes. So like there's like anxiety and worry and
Hmm.
relationships, right? All sorts of things. Um, I clear uh, I clear the energy of others off of me. I
Yes.
kind of like liken it to the evil eye. Stay away.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's
I
basically it. And then I kind of bring it all back together
love
for
that.
me. Yeah.
I love
So
that.
yeah, it's been really just juicy, this whole
Yeah.
thing, and what I like about like all of my modalities is that I can be in alignment with the clearing for people
Hmm.
because I take care of myself, right?
Exactly.
So when you're eating well, I mean, it doesn't have to be 100%, right? But you're taking care of yourself. You
Hmm.
are sleeping well. You're going to bed at a timely hour, right? Getting enough sleep, getting enough rest, eating the right foods, exercise, nature. When you're doing all these things, right? That's all self-care. That's all Ayurveda. If you're
Hmm.
meditating, and meditating doesn't mean you're just sitting there and oming, right? It could be a minute, it could be your breath, it could be staring at nature, it could be journaling, it could be reading the Bible, whatever it is, right? So, however you're taking care of yourself so that you can stay balanced and grounded, then you are aligned. And when you're aligned, that is when the best clearing can happen, when the best healing can happen.
Yeah. That's so good.
So that's why I feel like it all kind of goes together. And that's what helps me to be the best healer I can be.
Yeah. It's so fascinating, all of it. So cool. It's so good. I'm so glad we're having this conversation. Um, is there any other things you want to share? Anything else that's coming to mind? And then, of course, like where can people find you? And are there any new programs or anything you want to share? Yeah.
Yeah, so like I said, I want to, because I've already taught the energy clearing, I want to bring it live to my house and have a workshop here. But if there are people who don't live here, I'm creating a wait list for another online version of
Mhm.
this so that people can learn how to clear themselves. Space clearing is more advanced. We have to learn how to clear ourselves first, before we can understand and go deeper into the house, into the space clearing.
Yeah.
Um, you can find me on School. energy reset lab. I have meditations and energy clearing. There's a play session where people come in, and either people who've already learned how to do energy clearing, like we play around with our pendulums, but
Mm-hmm.
sometimes people come in and they have an issue, and so I kind of help them in one of the modalities that I have. It may not be necessarily appropriate to do an energy clearing, but let me look at a different way to help you, right? So I do that once a month, and I think it's a lot of fun. Um, yeah, that's about it. I'm available for, one-on-ones, space clearing, obviously. Like I love
Uh-huh.
to do that. Any size space, any kind of space, commercial, home, apartment. Yeah, all good. Yeah, Ayurvedic consults. Yeah,
Nice.
yeah.
Do you do just like a person clearing if I just like hired you to just clear me so I get, let's say, more business or and better sleep? Those are like my two things. I'm like, I would love this.
Yeah, so, I would ask you more questions, but yeah, I
Hmm.
mean, I could clear the situation for you. Sometimes it takes more than one clearing session.
Hmm.
Sometimes it could take a little bit more. With your sleeping, I would probably suggest, maybe clearing your bedroom,
Okay.
and I would ask more questions about what's going on around the house. Like, is there any construction around your house?
Hmm.
Um, like your neighbors, and, what else is going on there, but can do that. That has been successful for one of my clients.
Okay. Cool.
But also like learning how to clear yourself, maybe in a different way. I don't know how you clear, so I would be curious about that. Maybe you on my podcast, how you clear.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sounds good. Yeah. I feel like I have lots of answers for that, but yeah, it's good. But listening to you, I'm like, oh, now I have more ideas of like, I love my favorite one is just the energetic waterfall when you go in and out of a room, knowing that when you pass through, everything's like washed off of you.
Oh,
Um, and I did that a lot with personal training, whether I was leaving the gym or coming into the gym. It's like a mental clearing. And then the way I process is just freehand journaling and
mm-hmm.
speaking. Like that's a lot of way out how I clear it. But honestly, my favorite thing is taking a shower. I just clear it
Yep.
all and get my
Yep.
downloads. And like right before this call, I was like, I got to take a shower. So I'm ready to go. And I just feel so like happy and good and just flow.
Yeah.
Like it
Yeah.
clears blocks for me when I take a shower. So
It does, especially when you go in intentionally and you're like, you know what,
mhm.
my intention with the shower beyond the obvious is to
Yeah.
clear the day off,
Yes.
clear any thoughts or things that don't serve me, and just watch them go down the drain,
Yes,
right? Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
But some people need like that extra something something, right? Are you going to
mhm.
share a video of us, or is it just audio? Well, I'll show you anyway. It doesn't matter,
Okay.
right? Because do you play with pendulums?
Um, yes, of course, I don't know where it is
Yeah.
right now, but, go ahead.
Okay, right. So it's just a rock at the end of a string, right? I have a
Mhm.
freebie, something, it's like 10 minutes to teach people how to use a pendulum.
I love it.
Um, but
Uh-huh.
like there's a way to see,
Oh, look
like
at
if
your
you,
energy, it's already like, "Woo!"
right? So
Well
like,
done.
because that's how you tell if you're balanced, right? Because we're
Mhm.
polar, we have polarity, right?
Yes.
And so this is one way. This is how I know I'm balanced, right? I can ask the pendulum and see how the
Mhm.
universe responds. It's not the pendulum responding, right? It's how
No.
the universe is responding through the pendulum. And
Mhm.
this is how I know I'm balanced, right? Because one side does something different than the other side,
Uh-huh.
right?
Yep. It's
Yeah,
true. I have
yeah.
my like I cleared my desk. I think oh, there are my pendulums. They're right there. I have like a few over there. And then I have like my little board that says
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. And just kind of, yeah, yeah.
so fun. And then I have like the dowsing rods that I use
Yep, I
sometimes.
use dowsing
I
rods,
like
yeah, when I go in
love
person to do
those.
space clearing. Yep,
Mhm.
yep,
So there's so many fun things. And
yeah.
it's like, oh, what can I buy? But it's like, okay, what do I have? And like, let's use it and let's focus more on the intention and the question and like what's going on and try not to get like, what else can I buy off Amazon or the fun crystal shops and stuff.
Yes, yes, exactly. Yeah. But like this is nice because,
Mhm.
if you are
Beautiful.
curious, because you have to
Mhm.
be careful, right? Because if
Yes.
you're playing with it, you can
Mhm.
influence it, right? But knowing
Mhm.
your yes and your no and kind of seeing, and I've
Yeah.
actually played on Instagram over the weekend, are the Cubs going to win or the Giants going to win,
So
and I
fun.
was
Yeah.
wrong, but
Uh-huh.
knowing that the yes no is like for that moment in time. right?
Mm-hmm.
It's just for that moment in time. So
Yeah.
anything can really happen. But this, this is one of my tools. When I'm clearing, it tells me when I'm done clearing. It tells
Mm-hmm.
me when I'm done, when the clearing is complete and there's no more to be cleared.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate you. Thank you for showing up on this podcast, and I'm excited to have everyone listen to it. And I hope that I'm excited to work with you a little bit more and off
Yay.
screen. So
Yes, this was
we'll
so
talk.
juicy. Thank you so
Yes.
much. So
So
you
good.
asked me a question before we started recording, and it was, what is lighting you up? So I'm asking you,
Yes.
what is lighting you up?
Oh, honestly, this conversation, I always get so excited doing podcasts with people because I love people's stories and getting to know them and like what lights them up and like how they're making a difference in the world and stuff like that. So it's definitely that. And then something else that's lighting me up recently is on this Saturday, me and my oldest, he's going to be a senior next year. So he's 17 right now, but we're going to Japan. So I'm like, oh my gosh, this is exciting. Slash, we've been planning this for like 2 years and now we're down to like the last like crunch time. So I'm like,
Yeah.
I really should pack. So I'm excited to be done packing. And
Oh my goodness. What is the weather going to be like over there?
I was really surprised. Originally it was going to be like in the hundreds and stuff, and so now we're in like the 80s and 90s,
Okay.
humid and
Okay.
rainy, on and
Yeah.
off. So I'm
Yeah.
actually really relieved that the temperature is a lot lower than what I was expecting.
Yeah, I had no idea. Like, I have no idea. I had no idea what to expect from Japan. That's so interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
So it's definitely summertime. So, I'm just going to throw the question back at you because we're recording. But what is lighting you up recently?
what's lighting me up is just having uh, good friends, accountability partners reminding me of why I'm here. I lost my light a little bit over a few days, and
Yeah.
my accountability partner reminded me,
Oh.
and my clearing partner who cleared me and kind of reminded me of some things too. And yeah, so now I'm feeling much better about my path forward. Because sometimes, we get a little bit,
Yeah.
yeah, a little off center, a little off our path, and that's okay. And we just need a
Hmm.
little bit of help to come back. And, it came from a surprising place. So I'm grateful for that. So that is lighting me up to have people who care about me and to remind me of
Yeah.
who I am and where my light is.
Hmm. And that you like, for both of us, like you matter and your gifts are important and the world needs to see it and we need to just keep shining and showing up. So it's
Yes, we
awesome.
do. Yes, we do.
Okay. You have to do it, but it's all good. And here we are. We're doing it right now by doing this
Doing it
podcast.
right now.
So it's
Exactly.
perfect.
Yes. Well, safe travels
Awesome.
to
Thank
Japan. Have
you.
fun.
Yes.
Ah,
I'm so
yay.
excited. All right. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.